happening now, by the way. Right now. At
Dreams
this moment. It's happening.
Oh, I can hear two of it. You're
Oh
right.
no! You should fix that? That's awful. Okay, good. Great. We're on day 3 now, right?
Yeah.
We just played yesterday and I've already forgotten everything that's happened.
We've done the opera and we've done the Central Park Zoo.
A horrible zoo.
Full of monkey and worm.
Yeah, the worm fight was real cool. I liked worm. It was weird.
Who doesn't love worm?
We love worm here. We met the weird scientist.
Yeah, he was horrible.
He told us things, and that was exciting. Excuse me? Door is locked, you say? Okay. Daniel is pretending that he cares about his son now. So that's exciting.
He has a son, and then he cares immensely.
Then he cares the most, actually. Right, we inventory managed. We did all of the things. I think I need to actually be back in there. I don't remember where we're supposed to go or what we're supposed to do at the moment, but that's fine. We'll figure it out.
Remember where we're going. We're not supposed to be where we are.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are you doing here? Go do adventures.
Go do things. Okay, well, it's not in here. Cool. Well, I'm out of ideas. Can't go upstairs, because that's where all the jail cells are.
Yeah.
We're not allowed in.
We're not part of the turbo team. We're not allowed into the special floor.
That's the criminal floor. The floor for criminals. Downstairs is just the weapons department. And Big Boss Man is not in his room. So I think we need to leave here. I think we're done here. Unless this man has something cool to say. Nope. Oh!
Is he in the desk?
Yeah. Oh. On Christmas of all times. What's the matter with this town? Man, I gotta get out of here. Start up a ranch in the quiet countryside. Okay, I don't... That's cool. You do that, sir.
I'm out with this town, this cozy little town we live in. It's New York City.
Okay, so we don't need to be NYPD. We just finished at Central Park. We came from Soho.
Yeah.
I guess we'll hit up Carnegie Hall in the museum and see if there's anything there. And if not, well, we'll go back to Central Park then. My holidays are ruined, he complains. Saw you on the TV, it's the tall man. Can't just come barging in here. Alright, that's cool. Museum.
Oh wow, this website's horrible.
How? In what way? Describe to me. Oh! So where to? Is there any place with a research facility? Research facility? I'd like to conduct an experiment and test something. It might be relevant. How about the facility in the museum where Clamp is at? And really extensive equipment there. No way, man! Anywhere but there! Should have been evacuated by now. Should be okay. Yes, that sounds good. Daniel, is that okay? I'm expecting a big tip for this. You're not my Uber driver, Daniel! I'm not paying you shit, bud! Is that a chocobo on the front of the museum?
Sorry, I was looking at the horrible thing. Oh, that's a duck right there. It's called a chicken, is that animal, I believe?
Hey, what are you doing? What are you sending me? Oh! Oh!
That's the horrible thing.
Oh! Oh, that's not good to look at! So this is the American Museum of Natural History. Just as I met, we have multiple museums of natural history, buddy, all over the place.
Yeah, but this is the one.
Is it though? You can find a research facility in this building.
We need a museum of supernatural history.
Yes, please. I mean, I think we have like a witch museum in Salem, Massachusetts. That's basically supernatural history, right?
I want to say that Bugsy Moonbeam is a a doctor who works for the Museum of Supernatural History.
I'd believe it. This tracks. For a lab and a museum, it does have fairly extensive equipment. So what do you want to test? Yes, of course. Let me see. We're gonna do that blood test from the thing. Where we zap the blood and see who turns into a mutant.
We're gonna have to flamethrow.
Yeah. Well, no, because they'll just, spontaneously combust anyway, because the mitochondria get hot. It'll be fine.
That's true. That just saw itself out.
Yeah! I was able to extract a gel-like substance from Aya's clothing. Would you call it soup-like? Potentially? Gel, is it from Eve?
Yeah, is it from one of the many people who used to be there?
No. Those people disappeared, remember?
They became soup.
They became soup and they vanished. It appears to be a remnant
We've
of
actually
Eve's
got a
cells.
lot of different sorts of gunge. Sorry.
Yeah, we haven't really had a chance to get a shower in yet, have we? And there's been people blowing up next to us. There was a horse on fire. We've been mounded a couple of times. There was soup everywhere around us. Been a rough day.
It's bad.
A couple of days. At the cellular level, her power cannot be as strong as Aya said previously. What? Ow! What are you doing? Just want to conduct this experiment to see whether or not he is doing some blood nonsense. Sir, do you know how to work that? Yes! This is exactly just as I thought. Go ahead and take a look. It's soup. What is it? That's a powerful microscope you got right there.
I see the little wizards.
My god.
Just goes all the way down, huh?
Yeah. Again, just an incredibly powerful... Why are these starfish making these noises? It's the jungle room in Dead Space all over again.
Oh no.
Her cells are completely surrounded by them! As you can see, the mitochondria, Eve, has taken over the nucleus. In a similar manner, the beasts that attacked you probably experienced the same thing.
The
Does
orb
mito-
just got chomped.
Don't chomp the orbs. We need those. Does the mitochondria really have the power to control the nucleus? No, the normal mitochondria never has such power. But Eve's mitochondria has gone through tremendous evolutionary changes.
Normal mitochondria does not have teeth.
That would be horrifying. I don't want teeth in my cells, preferably.
Don't get the starfish then. Don't let them evolve.
Normally, mitochondria require oxygen when they generate energy called ATP. So at this time, the mitochondria requests oxygen from the nucleus. Without the energy supply from the mitochondria, the nucleus cannot function. So in essence, the two organelles constantly rely on each other. But in this case, it seems that Eve developed the power to reverse the symbiotic relationship. Evolution, or even mutation, seems likely in this case. Reversed the cycle? Look at this. Even with a limited number of cells, her cells have this much power. Can you imagine how much power Eve has within her whole body? Ada. Yes? Did you test my cells? Yes, of course, but I want to know. I want to know why I have the power to fight her. It's because you got the starfish. I want to know where I stand with her. You got the starfish. Please, Mahana, I need to know why. You got the teeth starfish. Yes, of course. You step over here, please.
Maybe she has nice starfish.
I don't know about that.
Because she's nice.
I'll need your arm. Like this? Here. Ow! Let me just set this up here. Are there nice starfish? Is the question. Do they exist? Okay, that's fair. You got me. Think you'd better see for yourself. Maeda, what's up with your face, buddy? Just 2 pixels. What is it? Is something wrong? You got the starfish. Oh, we're doing this again. The starfish wiggle. Do you realize what is happening? Your mitochondria are supplying more energy to the nuclei of your cells. It's almost as if they are protecting the nuclei from Eve's mitochondria. Why does Aya have the nice mitochondria then? I don't know, Are you familiar with Richard Dawkins' theory of the selfish gene?
Yo, look at David's... David looks like he has 2 mouths from this angle. It's so weird. What is happening to your head, David?
Sometimes the pixels get a little confused, I've noticed.
I would agree.
And people just have 2 mouths sometimes. In simple terms, it states genes act in a manner to preserve and ensure survival of the species. Hey man, I don't read those scientific journals. What are you trying to say to me? I feel like that was pretty clear. Like...
You don't have to read a scientific journal, Daniel. It's like high school stuff now.
Right? Depending on how you look at it, you could say that Eve is trying to destroy all mitochondria except her own. In response to that, Aya's mitochondria have developed the power to rebel. Why only Aya's? Because she's the only one with a leather jacket on. Duh. Look, she's a badass. I can't help that. shouldn't be the same for us as well. We should also have that power based on... Seems to follow the natural order of things, but I'm sorry, I don't know why. Professor?
Sure?
It's just Clamp. What are you doing in my lab? This is breaking and entering. Why haven't you evacuated the city yet? I'm asking why you people are in my lab. We knocked and said hello and no one responded. Therefore, we had every right to come in. We received orders to evacuate this city. Professor, you really should. I tell you, cops are the ones corrupting this fine city. Hey, is Clamp actually kind of based?
True.
I'm sorry. It was my fault, you see. I asked them to bring me here. Who the hell are you? Oh, I'm Kunihiko Maeda, and I'm a scientist from Japan. Using my electronic microscope. Got your germs on it. What is this? Where did you get this specimen? You! Where did you get these cells?
Why is everyone ellipses everywhere?
I don't know. Those are... I don't know.
Found him.
You take me for a fool? With cells like these, they must affect the body's natural state. Oh, shut up. I'll just ask. Officer Brea, your cells contain a tremendous amount of energy. Do you feel any bodily change? How do you know they're hers? I mean, he's worked with her before, right? So, like, that's why. But why is nobody being like, hey, how do you know that? You should feel somewhat hot, no? Speak up, officer, I can't hear you. Have you lost consciousness any time recently?
Hey! A boomerang arm.
What the hell is this? Why is my boy's name here? Lorraine's on here too. Clamp! You tell me. You tell me what that list is for. Tell me, you hear? My God, Daniel, let go of me. I don't have to tell you anything. What? Daniel, calm down. Daniel! Damn, you'll get out of here. Oh, he's shaking. He's mad.
Mad as heck.
Holy heck. Sorry to disturb you. Sorry my partner almost choked you out.
Sorry, picked you up and just wibbled you.
We do have to officially warn you of the evacuation. Please remember that. Officer Brea, you enjoy having that barbarian for a partner. I mean, he's fine. You know, for what he is, he's fine.
You like when he wibbles evil scientists.
Yeah. Oh, no. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, Maeda. A nerd boy.
It's too late now. Son. It's too late to do anything now. He's just so awkward. And I love him so much for it. Okay. Well, we'll go back here, maybe? We don't have too many places that we can go. Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Damn him. One of these days. What was that list? It was an HLA type listing. It's a list to see whether organs will be rejected when transplanted. Why the hell are Ben and Lorraine on this list? Probably because they're good people and, you know, signed up to be organ donors. It was a list of people with matching HLA types, so... Damn, I'm gonna get him! Going back to the station and getting the Daniel, what are you getting?
Oh, Daniel.
Daniel,
go get the tank from the station.
I am concerned for everyone's safety. What the hell happened here? Guys, we were gone for like 10 minutes. I do like that a lot of times Aya's sprite has her pistol out. Despite the fact that we don't have a pistol anymore.
Why'd you even get that? Yeah. Find this.
Eve is here? Go look around. You two stay here. Hell no! I'm not gonna sit around and wait for this thing to kill my family. You're gonna burst into fire again, bud. Wait, Aya! Here, take this. Are these the charms you mentioned?
I think
it's this. Good luck charm from Japan. The best I can do. Thank you, I'll take it. Please be careful, I will wait for you here.
Thanks, Veda.
I can only move it.
I don't think they ever, actually come in handy or anything. There's no point where you can actually use them. It's just nice. He's just a nice lad.
Beautiful. Oh. Getting help. Hang on. I think the cop's dead. You gonna say the same thing? No, we're gonna loot the body. All right.
Don't worry, he'll get help. Just goes through his wallet.
It's fine. He's dead. He's not using it. I would like to see if I can go into. Oh, never mind. Gonna see if I can go into the weapons department to. What are you?
The bird and a werewolf.
Well, I was gonna try and shoot the werewolf. Ah!
What is he?
I think
it's a werewolf. It's just
yeah,
a werewolf.
I think he's a dog. That's a dogman right there. Holy shit.
I give you a permanent stat boost item. That's not bad. It did a ton of damage though.
We'll use this on the M16, and then... Hold on. We'll use one of those, and one of those. Then we'll... Oh! Wait, it's me! Aya, this freak of a... What? It went by so fast.
I think a werewolf came in and he ate Torres. Said something about a dog.
Why didn't you shoot, man? Haven't used a gun since your daughter was shot? Torres, you can't put guns for that. I mean...
Technically, I mean... kind of can.
You can, absolutely. Suppose you're right.
Let's do a shot with a bow and arrow. I mean, yeah. Guns had something to do with it.
Torres is dead. No, says Wayne. Well, this gun, it's Torres's gun. Hasn't used it in ages, but he always kept it in shape. Torres wasn't just good at gun tune-ups. He was a real good shot too. But ever since the day his daughter was killed by a gun accidentally going off, he stopped shooting altogether, and he came to this department to keep guns in check.
That literally could not be more a problem with gun.
Right? Right, though? Oh my god. Okay. Wowie. What a...
Gun could not be more responsible for this.
This is fine. Let's store the bad gun. Let's... Wait. There we go. Wait a second. No,
Why
you're
you put
supposed to...
one bullet back in?
I think I might have accidentally pushed it down right as I was getting ready to... It's fine. You know what? It's fine.
Unbelievable.
Excuse me? Okay. Stupid gun is away. I don't need to store any equipment.
I don't think we have any junk right now.
Not at the moment. Oh yeah, I did want to put that good luck charm away though. I appreciate it, but we can't use it. And
Goes in the dream drop bucket for when we need it later. Is all.
I just don't want to lose it out in the wild, you know? So it gets to stay here.
Goes right here on the fridge where everyone can see it.
Yeah! And then we'll go into the room where Ben was earlier. Because I assume that's what they want. Dog, please.
Dog, man.
Jesus! Everything
those
hits
birds
so
up when you get
hard!
defense down.
It's bad here, is the thing. Alright. Alright.
Is the Wolfman's like laser move does a status that means you take a ton more damage from everything?
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Ugh.
It says defense down in the top right corner when you get hit by it.
I was too busy looking at everything else.
Too busy looking at the Wolfman dancing around.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and use... That's 60, and that's 30. Let's do a heal, too. And also...
Energy! Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I was just gonna say, you get the, like, MP back just by being in a fight.
Mm-hmm. Discard junk. Yeah, I'm gonna nail the monster that got Torres. Don't worry.
Give him a piece of my mind.
Gonna show him who's boss. Ah, yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
that's some goop.
Yeah. Got a gunk situation in here, I see. I'm sorry. Ben's gone. Where? I don't know. Shiva went berserk and Ben went after her. What? Well, she's dead. Oh. Are you... I'm okay. Please find Ben. I'm
fine. I just don't want to do any work.
You know what? Fair.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh!
Oh, that's a bad one.
Fuck. Well, I was trying not to get hit by that. That has such a wide range on it.
Hit by that option.
Yeah. Fuck. Sir, you can't just trap me in a corner like that. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. Everything is fine.
Dribbling over there.
Holy shit.
Energy bullet.
Ooh. Take all of that. And I'm gonna be a little less conservative with how often I use medicines now. We'll just keep using them. It's fine.
Yeah, we get more back, and the
Yeah.
big werewolves out.
I think medicines in general will be out of combat healing, and then in combat will be our or Eve moves. Can we come up here now? Is that a thing? Oh god! I didn't see what you said, sir. Go on downstairs. Hurry! Okay. Yeah, but I want to see y'all get got. No, I think they're just gonna stare at each other. Alright. Well...
I even expected you to try and watch that.
Wanted to see him get completely owned. If we can go to our office, that would be cool. But I guess we'll do combat first. With another bad dog. Oh, that is the rat, isn't it?
It's Rat Gecko.
It's the rat go.
Pat Gex, Pat Rat. Imagine. Kill my life form.
Oh no. I
Gex
hate
should
it.
Be a rat. That'd be better.
I mean, I'd be more likely to play Gex then.
I trust
Just
Rat
saying.
Gex.
Hold on, what moves do we have?
Not like a good rat, like a horrible stinky rat.
Well, yeah. Kind of rat you can't sploot.
Yeah, because you don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Whereas you'll get the bubonic plague from
Yeah.
fleas.
Oh, our friend is dead. What a shame. Yes, I would like to save my partners. Actually, wait. Hold on. No, get me out of this menu. Wait. Wait. I want to... I remember why I came in here. And, you know, subsequently immediately forgot. I want to reload. And... I think that was everything. Okay. Need to do it when I remember to. Overwrite. Okay. Great. Warner. Man, Eve really caught us off guard. Most of our men were out. I'm getting help. Hang on. No worries. I'll be alright. You go after Ben. Why does everyone know that Ben's, like, run off after this dog? Was everyone babysitting Ben? Because if that's the case, y'all did a shit job.
Everyone just watching Ben chase a police dog around, because that's...
Right.
Someone should have stepped in at some point here.
Either get that dog or stop the child from running around. There's a lot of different actions that could have been taken to help resolve this situation. But, you know, what do I know? Where is this? Shiva! Stop! Come back here! You just let the dog go, bud. Just let the dog go. Fuck. Rat, here's the problem. There's nowhere for me to dodge.
Right, that's too many fireballs for a corridor this narrow.
Just right up in his face. Alright. Great. Who's that? Oh! You gotta go after Ben. He went upstairs. Come on, we need to take care of that wound. I'm alright. Just go after Ben. Everyone is doing the wrestler thing. They're all pretending that they've done big moves, and now they're laying down on the ground. and are doing a rest, and
Having
it's
a break.
very silly. Can't make it. Got me pretty good. Take this. Only 6?
What
Wow.
bad guy.
Wow.
Glad you got caught by those two guys with guns versus 2 spiders.
Right?
Who would win? You'd be surprised.
Shiva, don't go that way. Ben, stop chasing the dog.
I hate seeing this kid chasing the dog around, and it's not even that like, not even that like it's, you know, dog's gonna turn into a monster or whatever. It's just that like, no, that is a police dog. You need to be as far away from that as possible.
Right? That thing can turn on you in a second. Child, you are going to be turned into bits. Please. It's not the dog's fault that it's a cop, but it is still a cop.
Yeah, they raise him wrong as a joke.
Yeah, you just can't dodge that defense down thing, huh?
Don't look like it. It's horrible.
Okay, this is a little bit of a problem.
I think it stops time when you use heal too.
Same. Dog, please. There we go. And then we'll use a medicine. Okay. I have to go through the door, I guess. Great, more medicine. Just what we needed. Please. Storage key?
Nice.
Is that for the one downstairs? It's like authorized personnel only?
Could be. What they don't? I didn't remember.
Oh.
If it's downstairs, we'll have time to check after. You know,
Yeah.
all the spiders are chewed out.
Whoa! Okay,
Because
cool.
That makes you run even slower.
Yep. Hate that for me.
I didn't know it was possible. The speed's under normal running speed for Aya?
I thought that other one was gonna die.
Play the little nail.
It's fine. We're fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
Stop time while you heal.
Please stop. You have to die?
Spiders. Not as much health as the werewolves.
Right? My god. They had a lot of ammo though, so that's cool.
That's nice.
And just one more for good measure.
Yeah.
We're getting lots of them. It's fine. Another save spot and a tiny box.
Tiny little medicine 3.
Medicine 3s heal a lot, which is
Yeah?
No. Okay.
Is it 180 or something? It's a lot.
Yeah. So we're kind of here for that. Save there. Also, I see that chest. Ooh! Give me that evade. Alright, where is it? There it is. Let's go. I should probably also reload gun.
Oh, yeah.
Gun is fine. We'll go ahead and do it anyway.
Just any time you remember, it's a good time.
Yeah. No.
No, again. How is it back? Wait, we have super bullets if you want to try that. I don't know how good it is. I don't remember.
How do we use those? Oh, right. Right?
Yeah, energy show.
Jesus Christ!
I thought I hadn't killed it for a second. Oh no, it gave her a headache.
Yeah. Okay, so if we use all of our PE...
I think it's if it goes below 0.
Okay.
So we might need to level up before we can, like, reasonably use that.
Okay, but still nice to know what it does.
Yeah, does 100 damage.
It's too close. That's too close. You're too close. You're all too close.
Rat spiders.
There we go. Let me take that. Prevents stiffness.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna. Well.
It wears off fast enough.
Yeah, I'll take it for now, just in case. But I'm not sold on it. Oh, my inventory is a mess again. It's fine. I wanted to reload as well. Okay. Let's go! Dog's gonna bite you, child. You fool! You are on. Your face is gone. You don't have a face anymore.
Hey, PSA: never pet a police dog.
It's bad. You will lose limbs.
They make them as violent, as dangerous as possible, which is fun because they also like use them as like just a little PR mascot to hide behind. But the PR mascot will fucking maul you to death for no reason.
Yup. It's not great.
Especially if you're black, actually, because dogs are really empathic. And if they're around cops all the time, they can tell that they like get more tense when... Oh, hey?
That's a goop dog.
That's a goop
Oh,
dog.
God. Disgusting. Kinda love it.
I love these cutscenes.
They're very good. You're not touching him. I don't think you're doing anything to it, buddy. Damn it, I'm out. Ah! Says Ben. Aya, we gotta go. No.
It's kind of a bad one too.
Bird, go away, because I will get stuck on Bird. And these guys don't hit very hard. Yeah, but they'll get me stuck in a corner? It's happened before, it'll happen again?
But that doesn't even make sense.
Please, stop chomping me? Thanks.
Those are horrible little creatures too. Oh, a tool.
Yep, but he dropped a tool, so like, that's fine.
The way they scamper around looks kind of horrible, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of down for it.
We'll do 2 of those. Would like to see what's in here. If at all possible. Ah! Please help me. I stepped outside and those things were all over. We'll be safer here. Don't leave this room. Okay. Hey, you're hurt. I think I have enough supplies to treat you just once. Not right now.
10 hit points is fine.
Thanks, but no. She says this right after I've like just eaten 2 medicine ones.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make it. Take the stuff in my locker. Oh, hey.
Nice.
I know that there's a door there, but what's over here? Is this where I'm supposed to go? Oh no. I can't go down the stairs. We just live here now. Honestly, it might have been worth making myself have a slight headache. Yeah. Alright. Alright.
Am I enough MP that you don't get a headache now?
Maybe. No. It's
No,
headache
it's okay,
time.
headache. At least
It's fine.
the spider doesn't do anything well. It kind of paws around sometimes.
Yeah.
I
Gonna
shouldn't
have
have
to
said
step on
anything,
that.
it got mad.
Yeah, but it's fine. That could have been worse.
Yeah, and it gives you medicine too.
Okay. No, there's the open door there. But also, this is a morgue? There are things in the morgue. There are spiders and a bird in the morgue. This
You need one of
is...
those in a police station?
Shouldn't. Definitely
But
shouldn't.
normal.
I don't believe so.
Maybe you just keep one in case you get attacked by monsters. And all the cops need to go in there.
Oh, jeez. I can't. Okay. Alright.
Good guess. Which one you're aiming at?
It was very difficult to tell. But it's fine. Look at us go. Full
Oh,
cure.
shit. That's really good.
All
Oh,
negative
it's
status
good.
effects. Okay.
It's better than Kayshurrr.
Just gonna rub my face on everything. Normally you can tell what you can interact with, but sometimes they're a little sneaky.
Yes, that room's just where you go to fight 2 spiders and 1 bird.
Oh, I was about to open up my menu. Great.
Why is he
Perfect.
back?
Love this for me. Don't do it, you bastard. Yeah, we're gonna get chomped a little.
Just a little bit.
Just a tiny chomp. Sir, you can't pin me in a corner like this. Right, it's a medicine 3 time.
Why Why is she wait until she get hit to shoot the little guy?
I don't know, but that was very annoying.
She made that decision.
Specifically to frustrate me, I think. Okay, hold on a second. I have to wiggle some things around.
The Medicine 3 is out in the designated Medicine 3 section.
I just need to know where everything is quickly. I know that there is like an option in the menu for me to like sort everything out, but I don't care about the other things. I just need my medicines all in a centralized location. That's it. Uncle Baker's hurt. That's a shame. Oh God!
Exactly.
Shiva. It's not Shiva. Shiva's already dead. Aya, please don't let her turn into a monster. She's already a monster, Ben.
Yeah.
I am looking at the thing in front of me, and I am seeing a monster. Come on, I'm the one you want. Oh God.
Oh.
There are 3 targets. Oh, okay. Oh, that was not ideal. There's not much room here at the moment. Okay, listen here, bucko.
Watch out for the duck's laser beam.
Thanks. Hadn't quite noticed that there was a laser beam here. For the most part, I have like really enjoyed the combat. My biggest complaint is that some of the areas in which you do a fight are so small, especially considering how large some of the enemies are. It's questionable what they've done. We stay at the front of the screen. Dog! That bastard just healed! I am displeased. Stop!
Dog. He might be one of the head. You might want you to like do it in an order. Which one looks the most like a cleric?
Is it you?
Horrible deadhead? Are you the cleric? Are you the healer?
The one with the tongue. Are you the guy? This is a problem. This is a problem. I am scared. This is a problem.
Nice judgment, Elizabeth.
I do have a revive on us, so it's fine. Look, I dodged like a pro. I don't know what anyone was worried about.
Just rotating on his axis over there.
I think that's the lower dog. Dog, you can't laser when I'm shooting!
Oh, you have to wait your turn.
I'm livid.
He's very not waiting his turn. It rotates real quick.
Yup! What does barrier do? Absorb damage? We'll consider.
Could maybe use a defense up in these trying times.
Yeah. Dog!
Dog full of lasers.
How much energy or how much damage absorption though? That's my
Some.
question.
Hopefully lots, not just some.
Dog.
Zero?
Those usually hit for like 30. So I'm gonna hope that that was significant.
Zero again?
It didn't attack the second time.
Yeah.
Deadhead
Oh,
is dead.
Deadhead's dead.
Deadhead is dead.
Killed Dead Tom.
Only 50.
Gross.
Oh boy.
This is fine. Got the upper hand now. One of the heads has died. You have all of your heads still intact. Okay, that did a lot of damage that time.
Yeah. Hope. No, what am I doing? I didn't mean to split that between the two, but hey, what can you do?
Both need killing.
Well,
Got revived.
oh my god.
Might be getting a little too wibbly wobbly out here with this big dog in this tiny room.
Yeah. My last medicine 3. Dog!
Dog, you have to stop. We know about the cleric head. We need a second run.
Yeah. We'll waste a little less time next time. Stop, dog! I don't know how to dodge you, dog!
Take up the entire space, dog.
Dog! Okay, that's second head dead. I think.
Nice.
Yes. Oh, that's okay. All done.
Nice.
Ah!
How many times do we level up?
Twice, please?
One, twice.
Second level, please. Second level, please. Please.
Oh, it's close.
Hey!
Well, they have to 3. Just let it tick up.
Yeah, I just want to see. I'm excited.
Dang, there were a lot of experience in that dog.
Thank God. Holy shit. We have confused now. M9.
There's a gun in that dog.
Well, I mean, I'll take it, but, you know. Kind of like my rifle.
Yeah,
Is
it
the
gives you a
thing.
lot of pistols that you are absolutely never gonna use.
Okay, before we do anything, I would like to reload.
Mathcub did a very good thumbnail of this boss fight.
Oh?
Sorry.
That is a good one. Fucking
Mathcub
dog
thumbnails
laser.
are on point. They are unhinged and I love them.
Very good. Also, hey, we've got some tune-up options, right? Before I do that. No. And bonus points! That's the other thing I should look at.
Oh yeah. I have to remember those exist.
We have active time?
I think you put it all in active time.
That's fine. Honestly, that's fine and acceptable.
Yeah.
I just don't understand in general what that menu is attempting to tell me.
Multiples of 100 points you can use to do a thing, and what you do, which thing you can do active time, you can do item capacity, or you can upgrade one of your weapons with like as if you got a +1 booster.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Okay. That makes more sense.
I genuinely don't know what the best option would be, because the
I feel like dumping all of it into like the active time and item space is probably the better options.
yeah.
And we're doing okay on inventory space right now, so
Unless you want a gun that shoots like a million shots,
yeah,
probably important to get active time.
yeah.
Because he builds up again while she's aiming. So I guess you choose if you want to do one shot and then be able to dodge really quickly afterwards, build, or never stop firing enemies stun locked until death, build.
Both sound kind of good. I think Uncle Baker is dead. And if not, that's a shame then.
Seems fine.
Oh.
Don't even seem to have the weird elongated torso he used to have. Maybe he's also mutated.
My god. Ben, I understand that you were attached to this dog, but I think we have bigger problems at hand right now.
And that was a really bad dog. Until it turned into a chimera. A horrible, partially dead chimera.
Right?
And then he was a cool dog, but also it was mad.
But also he was mad and he was scary and I almost died. In fact, I did die. But you know, it was fine actually. Also, we're on day 4 already.
Nice.
People. Daniel, you're in charge now. Oh, sorry.
It's just like one like dungeon, and then the day goes on to the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Like starry dungeon, and then you just after 6 of those you're done.
It's kind of sad that it's as short as it is then. I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
It's not like short for a game, like
But
just in
short for
general,
an
but it's
RPG.
very short for an RPG.
Yeah. You're doing great,
We have
boss.
escalated really quickly though. Like, where is there left to go?
Yeah.
She's melee like 1,000 people in the park.
we blew up an opera house. The park got melted. The precinct got destroyed. There's what more can be done? You know? Where did my Ada go actually? Oh, I can move now. But he's snooping around the criminal ID lab on the 3rd floor. I'll be fine. Besides, I promised Nix at the hospital that I'd settle scores with Eve. Start fixing up the office. Yeah, okay, cop. We have Daniels and Warner and cop. We have a tool.
I'm glad cop made it.
It's not really much on that I care about.
No, you just get the 3+1s.
Yeah. So maybe we don't do that right now. Which I guess is fine. I want to go back downstairs.
We have a locker key as well. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, and that was the locker room, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned.
Okay. Let's do... I was gonna go down here to do weapon stuff and dumping off inventory things. And then we can go to the locker.
We have a key for weapons things as well. I'm pretty sure you remember though.
Yeah. Discard junk. I have a lot of junk. Hey, we had a lot of junk just lying around the precinct. What is this? Don't have one yet. Okay. That's fine. Tune up weapon. Right, I need permit for that, don't I? Store. Oh, wait, I'm an idiot. I was like, store item. Huh?
Oh wow, we almost ran out of things.
Yeah, it got scary there for a minute. Here's the thing. I was scared. And everything else has been looted. Tragic, really.
Can't just loot the whole dungeon without any of the monsters now, I think. Since
Yeah. Gotta get all the things.
yeah.
And we unlocked the door! Hooray!
Love to unlock car.
5. That's...
It's not a pistol.
It's also not the worst, but it's still not as good
Range
as our current
is so
weapon.
bad though. Yeah, any gun that has like not rifle levels of range, I don't want to have to look at.
Right? Like, even if it does a little more damage than the rifle, A, it doesn't matter because I keep getting like these plus offense stuff. But also, I don't have to be anywhere near the enemy, and I like not being near the enemy. Consider, I don't stand next to the thing that will kill me.
I guess
okay.
a lot of the areas it's just like there's no space to move. You just do have to stand toe to toe with them, but like
Yeah.
we don't want to have to do that.
Consider. Oh right, I should probably go dump those off. Let me. Oop. Let's get rid of the ammo in this. Don't really need to at any given time. We have more than enough bullets. But also, consider we never ever run out.
I think I did switch to the MP5 in my game, and then it shoots 3 bullets, and I started to go like net negative on bullets, and I noticed red line was going down and got scared. I switched to my only shoots 1 bullet at a time gun. Never looked back.
Oh jeez. Kind of hoping to look at the stats on those things, but hey, that's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Depending on what we end up finding as the game continues to progress, we might just start smashing even like those the weaker guns, because they do at least have some points.
Got tools, you might as well use them.
Yeah. But for now, I think we're doing fine. Hey. Trading card. Maybe I should have come here first. Also, the way that guy made it sound like he had something like miraculous in his locker, and it's just a fucking trading card. Guy, there are monsters around.
Just wanted you to take his Yu-Gi-Oh deck.
My god. These nerds, I swear.
Go win Battle City for me.
Oh,
get all the star chips. I think if you tune up weapon, you'd have to trade the trading card.
Oh. Like...
And it like adds a slot to the gun. Oh, is it full? Are we full on slots? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, full on slots. We can add more vest slots.
Add the slot. This is fine.
What could you possibly even be doing that makes that noise and that motion?
Don't ask questions that you don't want answers
Produces a
to.
somehow better vest.
Hooray! Nope, don't do that. What are we doing? Why are we doing? Hey!
You're just in the menu clicking all the buttons. It's fine. We're safe
Yeah.
here.
I suppose. Alright. Let's get out of here. Go back upstairs, I guess. Because there were rooms up there that I didn't get to check out that I would like to look at.
Also, I think didn't the same maid have run off up there?
Probably.
So probably have to go there.
Well, that works out great then.
Find a funny nerd man.
Where he? Nerdman. I don't think there was anything in here, but I'm gonna double check. Yeah, okay. We checked. There was nothing. It's fine. That's the save room.
Maddie, 70 came in here.
No.
Is he hanging out in 2 spiders, 1 bird room?
The morgue?
Oh. Yeah, that's what I said.
2 spiders, 1 bird room. I see. Nah, he's in here. Okay. We will talk to him in a minute.
Yeah.
But first, right? He lives there now. What was in here? Stuff. Defense up. Well, that would have been nice to have. Is that it? In this room? This big room? That's it? I like how we've essentially doubled the defense on this vest.
Yeah,
simply with tune-ups. It's a good vest.
And in case your inventory space now.
Yeah. I love that. Was there anything else in 2 spider, 1 bird room?
2 spider, 1 bird room.
Nah. Nothing. Whole lot of nothing. Can you... Oh my god.
Why?
Okay. Sometimes you have to hit X to activate things, other times you just have to run into it. That was just a run into it at the right angle, but I was trying to hit X to activate it, so I'd just get rid of the message every time it popped up. So that's cool.
I was wondering how you're supposed to read that.
You're just supposed to be real fast.
Jamie Tacker couldn't read that. He missed that line.
Yeah, I would. Thought you'd be here. How did you guess? This kind of place makes me think more clearly. My god, these walks. Hey, Maeda, why did Eve attack the precinct? What I want to know is why Eve didn't show herself this time. Felt her presence here, but as soon as we arrived, she was gone. Could be a distraction. Distraction? What for? Is there a sperm bank or a hospital that conducts artificial insemination nearby? I know why he's asking, but that feels like such a random question.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Maeda, what?
You okay, bud?
A sperm bank? Well, I don't think Eve's body will last much longer. Right now, the mitochondria are just parasites in her body. So she's trying to create this ultimate being, like she did in Japan? I'm afraid so. So if we can stop her from getting there, she'll die eventually. I think a doctor at St. Francis Hospital specialized in artificial insemination. Let's go, Maeda. Hey, what about me? You're captain for now, remember? Gotta look after the precinct. Oh, alright. Here, take this then. Is it a bad gun? Is it a trash gun? Oh, it's just ammo. I don't need this. Daniel, I don't need this. I have enough. My goodness. It's fine. It's funky tunes. We get to drive now.
Dang. Way to get to go in the front.
It's because Daniel's not here to yell at him anymore. What's wrong? You're awfully quiet. I wonder why Daniel didn't come with it. Because he... What do you mean? Said he's gonna get the dirt on Clamp. He also wants to be with Ben. Oh, yes, of course.
I remember now, thank you.
Maeda... Yes? That creature that was born in Japan. What happened to it? It died, along with the scientist that was its father. How did a monster like that die? There was a rebellion. The mitochondria passed from the father didn't connect with the ones passed from Eve. Began to deteriorate, and the father held on to the dissolving flesh and they died. Even though it's a monster, yes, it's still your child. But it's a monster. Like an actual monster.
Yeah.
Like going around doing horrible murders and destroying everything kind of monster.
Happens a lot in Japan. It's Godzilla every other week.
My goodness.
They're just kind of more tolerant of that kind of thing.
I guess that makes sense. I don't know if I'd readily accept Godzilla as my child. No, that's a lie. I would.
Godzilla is my child. Godzilla is my son and I love him.
I'd accept Godzilla. We love Godzilla here.
I fucking love Godzilla. I genuinely love Godzilla.
Oh, Eve's here. It's hot. His little wiggle away. Oh my god. Sorry. I wasn't ready. You wait here. Are you giving me another charm? Bruh, this is... Thanks, but also I don't... Well, to keep away bad spirits, just hold on to this, okay? Thanks. I'll put it away as soon as I can.
Your voice has gone weird.
Has it?
That's for me. It might be on my end.
Your voice has gone a little funky, but it looks like it is It looks like it's Discord on my end.
Why Discord doing this?
Discord, please behave. Are we better now?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Okay. It looks like
I don't know why it happened.
OBS showed that I was like, my connection was consistent, so it might have just been a minor hiccup with Discord. It does that sometimes. That's just
Discord is a very haunted website.
Right? Oh, nope, it's doing it again. Discord, why? Okay, hold on a second. I might...
Well, there's not a lot we can do if it's Discord.
Yeah.
We could start a new call.
I might exit out of Discord real fast and reboot it. Okay, I will be right back. All right. I mean, I'm still gonna be here in stream is the thing. But Discord is being a butthole, so we're gonna exit out of Discord and relaunch and see if that helps. Because stream looks fine. So you know, we'll see what happens. Is it better? I mean, it looks fine right now, but we'll see. I need to check something. Hey, Fruity, are you there?
Yeah, now I just got in.
Oh, okay. It still showed you as being in the call. Was the only thing.
I also rebooted Discord and it just took that long to load. Sorry.
All right. No. That's fine. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't continuing to be broken.
Sounds okay. I don't know what it's doing. I'm sure it's fine.
I'm sure it's fine. Yeah, it looks like it's holding now, but we'll see. It could just be being a butthole. That might just be what Discord is doing right now. Hey, look, another tool.
Can't see it because you're not sharing the thing with me anymore. I can't see the tool.
This is fine. I'm sharing now.
Now we gotta see all the tools from here on out.
I opened up this closet and got a tool.
Lovely.
Let's do a quick save. Gotta tell the precinct that we got to the hospital and it's hot here. And also I got a new charm. Where can I put it? That's not in my inventory.
Why when we call on the phone does it ring on our end?
It's a good question. Maybe we're just calling ourselves.
There's a tiny box there next to the chair. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
there
that
is.
tiny box. It's hiding so good. It would just bullets as well. I'm glad we got it though.
Now we can say that we got the tiny box. Look.
Sneaky little guy.
He thought he could hide from you. Can't get past Fruity. My goodness. Oh, it's the child again. Hello. It's the ghost child. Maya? Or was it just my reflection? Did her parents really name her children Maya and Aya? I need a green key card. Why would you do that to your kids?
They were just gonna add one letter for every kid that they had.
Yeah, their next one was gonna be Saya, and then they were gonna have Raya, that's all I can think of.
Aya Bria and Maya Bria.
Sure is rhyming names. Okay. Game. All the doors are locked. Can I smash my face on this counter a lot? Is that a key? No.
That sounded like a giant key.
Right? Okay, well, guess we gotta leave then.
Stuck in the hospital.
Hey, you got any keys? Oh, what'd you say?
You wibble.
You find Eve and stop her? No.
Yeah, just now. 3 seconds. You could see what we're doing through the windows.
We're actually gonna go back to the precinct real fast because I realize I have a bunch of garbage in my inventory that I meant to get rid of.
Ugh, gross.
Yeah. But that also means I can put put the silly charm away. So that'll be nice. But I have like the storage key and the locker key. And that's 3 spaces right there that I could use for medicines. So bye.
Don't have any medicine though, we ate it all.
Yeah, but maybe we'll get more. Consider. What if
We
we
ate
get
all
more
our medicine while fighting the laser hound.
Yeah. Oh! New things.
It's just bullets ago. This is
Yeah.
the medicine 1 box.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
the
it's
medicine
medicine 2 now.
toolbox. It knows we've progressed. Store items, please. I would like to store this. And I would like to store this. And I would like to store this. No. Oh my god. Alright, whatever. I was gonna put them next to each other because I thought it would be cute. But fuck that. I don't have time for that. Let's pull out some stuff to do a smash on.
Yeah, we have lots of tools. In the hang on, which one did it say with the gunsmith guys? The 92F? I think.
Possibly? I mean, we can just pull everything out.
We can. We can't check them while they're in there.
Which is very silly. No. Sorry, doing this with an analog stick is very difficult.
Can you not use the buttons?
Nope.
You don't work with the... Why did they
Nope.
make this decision?
I don't know. Cause D-pad is definitely like it is mapped. I did do that.
Weird.
Yeah. Okay, sir, I will be back in like 2 seconds, okay?
This was before they like knew how to make the D-pad a usable... not D-pad, the analog sticks usable
yeah.
options.
Okay, so we've got, for our vests, got a 1 and a 2, and a 1 and a 1. Don't think we'll be doing anything with the Kevlar vest for a bit.
Vests happy. Okay, G19 has some stuff.
2, 1, and 2.
I especially like getting bullets up because then we'll never have to reload. It'll be great.
Right?
Just once every like stream, we'll have to remember. Oh, that does have 3 bullets.
Yeah, so I think we'll do the M92F and the G19?
Yeah, G19's are pretty dang good.
Smash that into there. The parameter will be moved and the G19 will be lost. Yes. And then we smash those in there. Yes. Okay, and then I have one more tool, and I could do that. None of these other ones are screaming at me.
Oh, we could just save it.
That is true. Alright, yeah, we'll do that. Okay. We store equipment. Move. Move. Yay, menus for days.
Analog
Great.
stick menus that wiggle and wobble in every direction.
They're so wiggly. And then we'll put this away for now as well. We don't really need it.
We'll be back too.
Yeah. That can go away.
Yeah, we really don't need cure. Keep the full cure in case there's like a really bad one that you just need to get rid of immediately. But
Yeah.
oh, you do have a medicine too in the box now. I think you put it in by accident when
Oh,
you moving the keys.
that would not have surprised me. Listen, everything's very wiggly. All right. Great. Now we have bigger guns and a bigger vest. And no, not bigger vest, only bigger guns.
Considered bigger vest, but only been slightly bigger.
Yeah. We're doing fine for vest right now. Alright. Back to the hospital, I guess. Gotta find those keys. Give me that key. Let's go.
Need that key. Give me that key.
So when are you playing the Saw game?
I don't own the Saw game. I kind of want it.
When are we getting you a copy of the Saw game?
I kind of wanted it before I watched SGF play it. 'cause
Yeah.
I'd heard of it and it looked funny, but then I saw SGF play it and I'm like, it's
Consider
funny for a little bit.
I think it's funny for a lot of it. Specifically when I'm not playing it. Okay, it's locked.
Is it the little green flashing button?
No, because it says I need a green key card.
Oh.
Card key, excuse me. Oh! I found the pixel.
Perfect.
Pixel located.
It didn't even open the right lift.
Right? Oh, going down. Oh no, the elevator cables. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
Hi, Devo. He's honking out there. Alright. Night, night. Don't let the bed bugs bite. The power. Well, this is a problem.
Oh. Hey.
Maybe it's not
Oh
a
yeah, it's a
problem.
hospital. It's fine.
Eve's trying to trap me down here. She's cut the main power line. Oh great, one elevator is broken. Without power, the other one is useless. Alright, well. Excuse me. Mop.
Equip them up.
Give me mop. Hope you enjoy your stay. Ma'am? Oh. Well. We're,
Cesaro.
not going that way, I guess. Did we go in here? No, because it's locked. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go, but hey. Camera angle is very wiggly. This is where I was trying to go. Before the game said no thank you. I see that shiny thing up there.
That's a shiny thing. It's clever. It lures you in with the box, and then you'll definitely see the shiny thing on the way there.
Got a fuse. What is that?
Ooh. It's a rifle?
Yeah, but what's that? What's that
some
icon?
Weird move on it.
Add tranquilizer to bullets.
Tranquilizer.
It only has 5 bullets in it, though.
5's not a lot.
No, but
If tranquilizer's good, we could put it on our good gun.
Yeah. I got excited because I saw that it did more damage, but it only does more damage by 1.
More damage.
But that's its base damage. The one more
Yeah,
is
that's
base
true.
damage compared to
If
ours.
you
We
smash
could always...
the M16 on there,
Yeah.
it'd do 10 damage of what it does now. And it'd have 8 more bullets in it.
And a bit more range.
We haven't been going really hard on range because it's already got so much range as the.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got more range than any of the pistols we've seen.
Yeah. So that's excuse me?
Could be worth messing around with.
Why are there jellyfish here? That jellyfish is gonna shoot me!
That jellyfish is gonna shoot me.
I give Look, he was gearing up to do a shoot. I recognize that
True.
animation.
You weren't wrong.
I got concerned. There was concern here about the jellyfish doing a shoot.
No one wants to get shot by a jellyfish.
It's true. Thought you had to watch out for their sting. It's actually them shooting you with a gun that you have to worry about. Maya, wait! It's me! Why are you dressed in those clothes? You must be cold! Can't touch that. Not allowed. Can't have it. Whatever's in there. Not for us. I know baby went the other way, but we're ignoring the child.
long
And
as we-
looking around.
Try and remember where baby went.
What is this
Oh.
mosquito?
Oh, that's a weird guy. I don't like him.
That's, it's Brian from Siren. I have been shot by jelly gun. I am poisoned. I didn't mean to shoot the jelly.
This is Siren. You are in danger of that guy just whipping out a sniper rifle and blowing you away.
Right. I am concerned about everything right now. I need to detox.
Health did get a little bit low. It's
You
fine.
guys are easy enough to dodge.
Just when to stagger the shots like this. You know, to both fire kind of at once.
We're gonna do one more heal.
Yeah, we're gonna say throw cheese a little bit and just heal up on this boy.
Yeah.
It's now got nothing.
He's just a silly little guy.
It's like a beaker with an apple floating in it on weird little legs.
There's an invisible wall there. Come on, do a shoot.
Is he meant to be? Some weird cell thing? Is he a cells?
Yeah, I
That's
assume
a big
so.
mitochondria.
he's starfish shaped, kinda.
Big little wizard.
Big little wizard. Give me all that. You love to see it. And while we're thinking about it, let's do a reload. Because
Oh,
we
yeah,
only
good-
had
good
one
call.
bullet left.
Cuts to 23 now.
That's so good! I'm incredibly excited about that.
Love to see it.
Mm-hmm. Very good! Little boxes everywhere. That's not a little box. That's a
False
little box, though.
What's the skeleton?
There's a skeleton. Wait, no! That's a door. I don't want to go that way.
That's fine.
Please.
Just turn
Back
around.
through.
We're fine.
Let me do a save. We got jellyfish wizards here. It's a thing. Why
It
is it a
happens.
thing? I'm gonna save. I'm gonna grab a soda real fast. It'll take me
Oh.
like 10 seconds.
I'm gonna quickly run to the loo then if we're taking a break.
bathroom breaks are good and important. Rip it and rip it. Okay. Let's go. Well, we'll wait for Fruity, but, you know. It's fine. We're basically ready to go. Oh boy. I've got like the worst sniffles right now. And I don't approve.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
How's the soda?
Cold and delicious.
Nice.
Okay. Sorry, I was looking at a thing. Let's go. Where am I? Need a blue card key for here.
Horrible. I thought that was where Baby went, but I might be wrong.
Might have been?
We've already lost Babe.
Yeah. Well, I also went in a different direction. Okay, yeah, I know where we are. Okay. I just needed to reorient myself. Yeah, I think Baby went off this way.
We have a fuse. We have a ghost Baby. Doing alright so far.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's lots of rooms that we can explore, so I'm not too pressed about it at the moment. And then we went in there, where we kind of just came from. What's down here? Broken Stairs is down here.
Is just broken stairs, or is not just broken stairs?
Just
broken stairs and nothing.
Whole scene dedicated to broken stairs. You know, like you do. What was in here? Nothing. It's locked. I remember. And then both of these are the elevators. And that door.
Do we
is
know
locked.
of anything that needs a fuse? Is that fuse box? It looks drawn onto the wall. Yeah.
Yeah. Gonna rub my face on it a bit though, just to check. Anything in here? No, this is
fuse.
Yeah. This was Fuse Room. Where the jellies hang out. Come on, buddies.
Horrible gunkuses.
Kinda love them. Ah!
Well, what about now? Now that they've whacked you for 3 damage with one of the tiny arms.
Still love them. They're just little guys, okay? Excuse me. Okay, now I'm a little upset. It did get me down to 169 health though, so.
Oh yeah, okay, we got Sam out of you, tiny wizard.
He was actually helping us out, is the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Baby went that way. That's not anything. Baby. Tiny baby.
Just sleep back to...
Or just what?
Just the path downwards just leads... It's the, like, corridor that comes out right by the door that we're going to get into this room the other way, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Fuck's
hey!
sake.
Sometimes I just need to backtrack and recheck everything that I've already previously checked.
Does anyone need an autopsy? We have a key.
I think that's the room all the way at the end of this hallway. This one. Yeah! Seems this key is no longer useful.
Oh my
I'll
god!
discard it!
For the first time ever?
Right? Hmm. Hey! Oh,
That is
never
a
mind.
tiny little man.
Right?
Tiny little meat
guy.
man.
Look! I thought he was gonna. I'm okay. This was a mistake. No, it's
Whoop.
fine actually. Ah!
They take up a lot of space, huh?
Yeah. I was trying to get jelly out of the way so that I wouldn't get poisoned. And then I got poisoned.
Yeah.
It's just 3 damage.
Very ironic.
But like only
Sorry,
having...
I can't help it.
This
Like
is
only having
fine.
10,000 spoons when you need a knife. Or possibly the other way around. I can't remember which way around.
One of the two. Hey, we leveled up though. That's exciting. Our max health is getting up there. I'm only gonna take the ammo. We don't need the cures. I need to stop taking those.
Detox is like, it costs like 0 MP.
Yeah.
and- yeah.
$90. Great,
Tool.
another tool.
Never have
Another
enough
box.
tool.
Offense.
Never have enough offense.
I would like to put that here, please. And I want to discard this. Alright. Hold on. Hold on, we gotta wiggle things around again. I did
Medicine,
that.
you know where you're supposed to go.
Actually, oh, this is annoying. I'd love to have all that up there.
There's a gap
It's
now
fine.
too.
Yeah, well, I don't care about the gap so much. I'll still fill it in, but like, again, I just want my medicines in a centralized location. Easy to reach place. Okay. Excuse me? Oh, jeez. What is...
Dinosaur? A kobold wizard?
Ow!
Oh god.
Ah! Let's just heal up real fast. I like his little hops.
Yeah. This is a Final Fantasy anime over here.
Get away from me. Ah! What is it doing? What the fuck?
Dog wild.
Great, I've been poisoned.
Okay, it's dead now. At least get rid of the Green Goblin over there.
Yeah. That sure was something. Bruh.
Oh, he just 360 no scoped you.
Oh.
That's horrible.
Oh, that was so rude.
Spun on a dime.
Can't do that. He's gonna shoot.
I think one of them's on like one hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
know
and if
which
it's
one it
just
was.
one, we should be alright.
Okay. Alright.
Probably like, okay. That's
could have taken the time to do all of the heals and stuff like that.
Done a little bit of heals. It's fine. You got rid of him. He's dead now.
I just wanted to not be there anymore. But we can also
Makes
do a heal now, as well as that. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And hey, one more heal for good measure.
Yeah.
Also, there's a corpse here. Hey, we got the blue key card. Hey!
Nice. Can we take a banana yellow, Walter White meth cooking suit?
Absolutely, but only if we can fill it up with compressed air, like Jesse does. Ooh, another fuse. I appreciate the fact that Aya will stand on her tiptoes to reach above something. Aya,
after the witness, where the man could have just.
Oh my god!
Just crouched down a little bit.
Just lower yourself like 2 inches. That fucking guy. Okay. This is fine. Sometimes you just need to spin.
Just in life in general.
Yeah.
Let's go for a spin.
Sometimes in games when I'm trying to figure out where I'm going, what I'm doing, remembering what's happening, and just run around in circles real fast. And it's like I'm loading. It's like my brain is loading. You know. Seems this key is no longer useful. Discard it. What are you doing, Aya? I mean, like,
new Aya.
It's fine. Keep doing that, but also, huh? Maya, wait, don't leave me alone. Ghost Girl's gone. She's left you. Also, there's a box there. Micro, excuse?
Micro was 5 shots. And some weird thing also.
No, I just want to look at. Oh god. Random rate of fire 1.5. Huh?
What does that mean? What do you mean? 1.5 randoms added to the rate of fire? Or... What? It's micros. We love micros.
I'm gonna use it for a minute just so I can
See
understand
what.
Yeah. So much for using the stairs. Okay, but also there's a thing there. But Ooh! Use it on the M16, not the micros.
Yeah, even if we really like the micros, we'll smash the M16 into it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's in here? Anything that I can shoot at? Consider?
You can shoot lockers.
Tool.
Can we shoot chair?
How about we shoot some things? Oh, what the fuck?
You can shoot that guy. Jim.
What do you mean random?
Random.
Okay.
First time it shot 7, second time it shot 6. It does more than 5. That was just 5, but then he died, so... Wait, is this an enemy?
Okay. I don't hate it.
No?
But I don't love it.
It's weird.
It only holds
a weird
19. So I think I'm just gonna go back to the tried and true.
That's
But we might take the like. Well, I guess if we do the random on it, then we won't necessarily always shoot 2 bullets with the M16.
yeah.
Could take that 5 though.
I mean, you could. You shoot 5 bullets with the M16 every time.
Yeah, that honestly sounds very appealing to me.
It does divide the damage between the bullets. Like, I think at 5 shots, it does, like, if you add all the shots up, do slightly more damage than it would if you just shot 1.
Okay.
But it's not, like, you don't get the full attack value on every bullet. Not even close.
Okay. Well, then maybe we keep it at 2, because I like being able to do a shoot and run.
Yeah. It fired quite quick, did the micro Uzi though? It fired a lot faster than the M16 does, like between bullets.
Yeah.
Weird one.
We'll hang on to it. Maybe we'll swap around and mess with it a little bit.
Yeah, could
So
do.
I'm gonna heal up again.
Getting a lot of weird gear here.
Yeah. In a hospital?
Where else would you keep your micro Uzi?
I guess. Oh!
Nice.
Didn't even see that one. Just rubbing my face on things.
How many
Okay.
dang fuses do we need?
Too many. That's the answer. Too
Yeah.
many.
Oh, it's this fuse box. Hey, do you need exactly 3 fuses by any chance?
Oh no, the main circuit breaker is torn apart and some fuses are missing. What?
What? Oh,
Wouldn't let me just use it from the menu. That's fine. Repair wires.
this is a puzzle. We're doing a puzzle. Oh, it don't look like it's a puzzle.
Toggle power.
We have 2 more fuses, right?
It wouldn't let me put the other fuses in though.
But what? We have so many fuses.
Toggle power off.
Why do? You know, we have loads of these, and there's clearly 2 gaps left on there.
I'm
If
confused.
you don't want to fix that, it's fine.
But we need to. Wires are already repaired.
Well, she won't do anything with it, so I guess it's fine.
Yeah. Maybe it's for a different fuse box.
Yeah.
I guess.
There's a whole bunch of fuse boxes. Just they look like there were 3 slots, and we
Yeah. Oh.
put 1 in, and then couldn't put the other 2 in.
I mean, I'm as confused as you are, honestly. She won't interact with the elevator anymore. What are we doing?
Oh, yeah, please. You have to help us out here.
That's the broken stairs.
Let me see if I can find that horrible website again.
Oh no. Oh boy. I'm scared for your eyes.
I think I did find it. Oh god, it's so blue.
Let's see. I don't know what you want from me right now.
You have to go to the right side of the fuse box to insert fuses.
Are you kidding me?
If you use the left side, that's when you can repair the wires.
Are you kidding me?
That's what it says.
That's some bullshit right there.
Yeah. That'd be weird as well, because you'd run all the way around in a circle, come back to this, and just happen to click the right pixel to let you put more fuses in.
Right?
And you'd be like, I did this though. Get me, you gaslight me.
This is silly. This is very silly. It's fine. We got it. It's fine. It's been repaired. Oh boy. Okay.
It's fine.
Old Wiggly games.
Though, that's
yeah,
really
no,
weird.
It would have taken us ages to have figured that out on our own. Because that doesn't make any sense. Here's the thing about that thing. Doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Okay. Two ghosts. Oh, no, okay. Maya and me? Is this other door unlocked now? Yeah, it is, but also fight. It's just jellies.
Oh, God. So many jellies. It's a whole firing squad of jellies.
They're gonna shoot me with their guns.
Good dodge it.
There we go. Just gotta wait for all of them to shoot.
Yeah.
Please. I've already lost track of which one I had shot previously. I think it was that one. It was not. Ah, it was that one!
Hey!
Hey! Now he's gonna shoot again.
Who's the one that's yeah, I'm trying to remember because it numbers the targets. I'm trying to keep track of that now.
Once there's like 2 on screen, I'm good, usually. Yeah. With 4,
Number
it's like
3 we're after.
That ball and cup game where you're trying to keep track of your which one has the ball underneath it. Which one have I previously damaged?
Hey, which one has the Antichrist under it? I know that game.
Why is the dealer smiling so much?
We need to watch the rest of that.
Yeah, we do. The new series starts later this month. Gotta finish it. Hey, do you want to finish it after stream? Wait, it's getting late, isn't it?
It's kind of late. Everything's been weird and wiggly recently. It's just been so fucking hot.
Yeah. No, and that's understandable. Please don't die. It's too hot. Sleep when you can. Don't be hot. Oh, jeez. Sir. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna
Poor dinosaur man.
get rid of him. He's just gonna go away now. Still get very tired
that might
from that.
Always just use all your energy and give you a headache. Maybe I was just wrong.
Maybe. I don't know. It's not too bad. Like, the recovery on it feels fair. Excuse you? Okay, it's fine.
Its goop was too slow.
Gonna take that. Oh god, I have to fix my inventory.
It's fine. Just don't. Just pretend it's not happening.
It's the medicines, though. What are you doing, Aya? I don't know about you two, but I'm getting out of here. Mrs. Nussbaum? What about your medication? It's no use to me if I'm dead. It's got a point. You okay? Thank you. However, a nurse is trapped in the other room. Could you help her out? Yes.
It's such a mess.
A holding thing. Okay, you know what? We're gonna... Why did you do it this way?
It's beautiful. Perfect. Just what we wanted.
I mean, it's closer to what I wanted. It's not as disorganized. Oh, jeez. Ah! Realization that the area is too small. Ow!
This is a lot of guys for a very small area.
Yeah.
That
We'll
guy
let
does take
ourselves-
up a lot of space, so like getting rid of him first.
Yeah, he needs to go. And
Like,
then I
he's
can
easy to
do-
dodge, but he takes up so much space that you could use to dodge the other things.
Right? I would love to detox, but I can't do
No,
that
don't
just
have enough.
yet.
Don't have enough mana.
But we got the health to spare.
I think you got enough now. Ugh.
But now we can take the time to... Oh. I was gonna say, we can take the time to heal up and stuff, but... The one didn't die like he was supposed to.
I think it has to be a double crit to kill him in one volley. One salvo.
Yeah...
Now we can heal him.
Hooray!
Hey!
We'll do one more, and then I'll heal from the menu for the rest. Sir!
He did the thing again, he just no-scoped.
You know what? Fuck
Just
it.
blow him away, yeah.
My
Won't let you get poisoned.
That's a Star Wars? That's a Star Wars thing, Travis.
Midi-chlorians, the powerhouse of the cell.
We do have lots of starfish in us, though. This room, I've seen it before. I'm getting hot. I know I've been here before, but why? What was I doing here? I don't know, probably hospital stuff.
Could have been something to do with all those flashbacks you've been having while you're in the bed.
since the very beginning of the game. How's it going, Travis? How are you doing?
How are your midichlorians, Travis? How are your space wizard germs doing?
Ma'am? I thought I was done for. Thanks. Glad to help, but you could help me even more by telling me where the doors next to the elevators lead. To the storage areas of the hospital. That's where we keep oxygen tanks and our main supply of liquid nitrogen. What do you use liquid nitrogen for? I don't know. Here.
Oh.
Take this green card key and find out yourself. I'm not staying to see what happens next. Great. Thanks.
I do feel like, oh, this is where we store all compressed oxygen and liquid nitrogen. Is the game saying this part of the building is going to explode imminently?
Right? That's my understanding of what this
It's called
lady just said.
foreshadowing, you see.
where everything is. This is fine. There we go.
I think we're a tiny box. Oh.
Everyone's either dead or evacuated. I think I'll choose the latter.
I thought the emulator had broke that.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Tiny box. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Spajacket.
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 It's rubbish.
Yeah, but it could. Well, it'd have less penergy.
You won't have the +1 inventory space either.
Yeah.
I guess it would have a lot more defense. And that's kind of the main one.
Yeah.
And since the dog ate all our medicine.
Well, I mean, we've been doing pretty okay on inventory space. We're at 17 out of 25 right now. And at least 3 of those are being taken up by, you know, stuff. Oh, 4 of them. 5 of them, excuse me. Also grenade launcher? Excuse
Is
me?
that grenade launcher? Oh yeah.
That's what it says!
I knew there was an M79 grenade launcher, but it does look like a grenade launcher in the picture, so I thought I meant something else, and it does
Right?
1 more damage than our assault rifle.
Critical's gonna take a hit.
Is it? How much
Yeah.
is bonus on the Kayshurrr vest? You could,
5.
It's 5? It's only a slight downgrade. It's 3 points.
Yeah.
It's up to you. Kayshurrr vest's doing fine. We don't need to change nothing if we don't want, but we can. We have that power.
Yeah, but
And it is a full jacket instead of just a vest.
it's gonna, and it's like, it's at 35 defense base.
Yeah, plus 11.
Plus the 11. I think we
I
do
do
it.
think defense is like by far the most important stat. Okay, we're smashing Kayshurrr vest into Spur vest. That's fine. That's correct. It scared me for a second, but it's right.
Yeah. Well, it's like I know that it's gonna give me this confirmation message beforehand, and I will read it 3 times over to make sure that it's correct. Despite feeling like I'm pretty confident that I know how this all works now, but I'm still gonna like triple check just in case.
It's just that it's so weird and works blatantly backwards. Like,
yeah.
obviously you should select the thing you want to keep, and not the thing you want to trash.
Right? It's fine.
That's how everything works.
Okay. Do I want to do anything with these guns?
Might as well hang on to them. You got loads of space, and we got a collection.
I guess I'm just trying to like consider like if any of it is just worth smashing at this point. I don't think it is. That's fine. Since we were doing a smash, I just wanted to consider if it was time for another smash.
That's fair. Always gotta think about smashing your moves. It's very important.
Yeah. It is. Alright. Got the green key card, which means we can go in the green key card area. Oh, please.
Not 4 goops again. Oh, jeez.
It's 4 goops. We got the goops. Okay, do a shoot, please.
Ooh. They'll fire at like exactly the same time. This is perfect.
I think I'm keeping track. Yes! Ah!
did helpfully spread out then. Oh, nice of them.
Do a shoot. I was very scared that that one was gonna hit me.
Yeah, the sneak. Too close to sometimes just decide, no, you don't get to dodge this one.
Right? So rude. But it's fine. Also, we have like 500 bullets.
A healthy amount.
And now we're getting more. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
We do a save. I know we just saved, but we do a save. Please. I'd rather oversave than undersave. Forever permanently scarred over Rule of Rose.
It's horrible.
Whole dang thing. It's fine. Sometimes you just get a little too cocky. You know how it is. Can you tell me why the hospital uses liquid nitrogen? No. Well, for many different things. You can use it to freeze off warts and such, but its main use is for research. Keeps the sperm bank from spoiling. Sperm bank?! My god, how do I turn it off? Wait, why are you telling her this? Why is the doctor telling her this?
It tells you every single detail and then, oh, why do you ask?
Right. Well, there is a valve that you can turn off in the storage area. Why? Sorry, I don't have time to explain. By the way, which floor is the research lab located on? The 13th! Thank you! I'm gonna look around to see if anyone needs medical attention. Just unfazed by the fact that I'm, like, asking these very specific questions on how to destroy their shit. Also, what floor is it on? Ma'am? Someone's losing their job today. Bullet capacity.
Do hospitals have thing flaws typically, or is it like like Japanese hospitals don't have fourth floors? It just goes straight to 5.
That's
kind
a
of
good
situation.
question.
I know some businesses don't have a 13th floor. You know, they'll just go straight to 14
Yeah, that's
because
so,
they think it's unlucky.
So silly. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Ah!
That's a big goopus.
What is he doing?
Whoa! You jump.
No jumps. I like his little wind up.
He's actually amazing. This is the best guy. I want to play as him.
Ah!
I
Sorry.
clutch you with one of his weird little feet.
Can't stop me. B-vest.
What's the best?
B-vest. I mean, we have to take a
Better
look
not
at
be
it.
good, because we just got a new one.
Right. Oh, you can't be poisoned with it.
Nice! We could move that one over anytime.
Yeah. I would like to never be poisoned. Thank you. B-vest. Into Sp-jacket. None poison. Poison will be removed, and B-vest will be lost. That's fine.
No poison ever.
None poison. Love that for me. Just wanted to take a peek at it. That's a good jacket.
It is.
I like this jacket.
Very good find.
Mm-hmm. What's in here? Oh. How much? Just out of curiosity. Also,
Oh,
glad I
good call.
remembered because, oh boy, we're at 548. We have so much.
So, are these not the valves you're looking for?
I don't think so?
Oh,
Because, I mean, we're on the first floor, right? Oh, maybe they... Okay, maybe they are the valves we're looking for.
there's just a lot of valves around for it to not be the
Yeah.
research lab's on the 13th floor, but that's where we're going eventually, right?
I thought that's where the valve was for the nitrogen. Oh, I guess not, though. Okay. No. Okay, just the one then.
We turned a valve. We probably did something good here today.
Well, my work here is done.
Yeah.
No, don't go back in there! I didn't even push X. She just said, yeah, we're going in now.
Took her ages to like orient to go in as well.
Horrible. My goodness, Aya. Okay. 13th floor, please. Going up. Doing a stretch. You should stretch if you haven't recently.
Oh, I probably should.
Realized I was hunching. I was scrunched. Stop Eve before more people die. Could have died not in front of the door.
Yeah, that's
Kind of
very
rude of him. Yeah.
Could at least drop 6 bullets.
My goodness.
Oh,
Ah!
it's the horrible guy.
We're just gonna do that.
Okay, he lived. This is horrible.
He's a big man. Oh,
He
he's
can't be well. Oh, there goes his bouncy ball.
Ah! It's gonna hit me. It's not actually. We're fine.
It's just so bouncy.
Fuck off.
It's fine. It's nothing.
Yeah, but it's just the fact that it hit me is annoying. I am annoyed by
A little
that.
bit.
Okay, do a spit. Rude.
So much less bad now that you're immune to poison forever.
Right? Do want to do a couple of heals. Because, like, we're here, right? Might as well.
Yeah. I think if you're in a fight for like a really, really long time, you stop getting MP back. Just to stop you like fully healing every time you get hurt by just
Yeah.
leaving one guy. But you know, if you only need to heal a couple of times, it's absolutely fine. It's not gonna do nothing to stop you.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's like I just wanna we're low enough that getting us at least back up to a manageable level would be preferable.
Yeah.
Tool.
I just kind of wanted to say to make words during that part of time. There another rifle you just got, by the way.
Was it?
Yeah, he had like 100 range. I don't know how good it was, because I only look at the range to see if it's a rifle.
That's
the
fair.
only thing I look at.
Oh.
That is a decent rifle. Oh, he does only shoot 1 bullet. That might be the one I use. If you want to shoot a lot of bullets, you can always slam the Uzi into it.
Yeah. Hold on. We've got. I just want to see what my weapons have, but that's all. Okay. That one has 2 bullets in it, which would get it the G3A3 up to where we are with
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah, you could always
M16. I don't have enough tools on me at the moment to do, like, a full smash. I can't get, like, our M16 to... I can't dump the stats from the M16 into this one just yet, but I think I will take the M79's 2 thing into...
We have a lot of pistols, so we can take the 2 off. Save the M79 in case we decide we want Tranquilizer for some reason.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what it does at all, but you never know.
That's fair. Okay, well in that case, let's get the
Like
M16
every
back out.
Random pistol we got shoots 2 bullets, I think. Well, some of them shoot 3, but, you know.
Do we... I see that button.
Yeah, right into it. Yeah?
I was like, hey, do you want to push the thing? I don't know how to push the thing. That's a big button. That's a big, silly button.
Huge button.
I am kind of half tempted to run back to the precinct to do a weapon smash.
Yeah, we'll get there in a minute, surely.
Oh god. Oh god.
You can do what you want.
It's bad here. It's bad here. Oh, it's bad here.
Oh, it's not great. We could just make this man go away. This goblin.
Yeah. He's the one that I'm most worried about. And that should take care of him. The weird crabman...
That's such a horrible thing.
Is...
He's a smaller one than usual, is it? I don't know.
A little? I don't know. He's not too terrible. Those things suck. But we can work around them. One more and he should be dead. Stop
Oh god, he's got so
spitting
many
these!
orbs.
Oh my god!
This is horrible. Oh god, they don't die in one hit.
I thought they did!
It needs to be a crit, yeah.
Oh!
Awful.
No, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. Fuck! Hated that. Let's go ahead and use that.
Nice.
There's gonna be weird animals here. We're going back to the precinct. I want a bigger weapon. Not that the M16 is particularly fallen off at this point, but I am scared that when it does, it's going to be sudden and horrible. And I'd rather get ahead of that. And we do have tools.
Gun big.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the lobby. Plus, we haven't really, like, I don't know, I feel like we've done, like, a pretty decent job of staying the course. Not wandering around too much. We can afford a little wander. And if anyone has a problem with it, well, I don't give a shit. Oh, fuck.
I have a problem.
Well, don't give a shit.
Heck.
These guys care, though. That's...
These fucking guys are always here.
They're very upset that they haven't been seen yet. The waiting times in this hospital are ridiculous.
It would be nice to have a gun powerful enough to guarantee two-tap these goopers.
Please. Fair. That was a reload.
That's fine. Go away with that.
Oh, you're too close. on. One more hit. Yay! Give me all of that ammo. Game, I don't think I need any more ammo. I think I'm okay.
That's what they all say.
Yeah, but actually though,
I would rather have like quad 9 ammo and just be safe in the knowledge that
you'll
that
never
was
run
a
out.
useless number that I will never need.
Yeah.
It does start. You do start using it up if you have like the Uzi that you've got would use a ton of bullets up. Like you might actually be running out.
Yeah, but that's why we're not using it.
Yeah.
Consider. All right, it's gun smash time. We're going to. Oh, where are you going, Aya? Ma'am. It's fine. The load screens are not nearly as long as, say, vampires. This is fine. We can deal with a couple of seconds. No world records here for me. That's fine. Alright. Give me those bullets. Speaking of ammunition, give me that medicine.
In Parasite Eve, when analog mode is enabled, the D-pad just turns off and you can only use the analog sticks. That's what's going on. You have to pick. You can only have one on at once. Cool.
Why? I'm glad that explains why it's doing what it's doing. I hate it.
It's awful. Dumb.
Let me tell you right now, horrible, miserable. I don't remember which one does anything. So we're getting all those out. And then we pull out the tool. And I think that's everything. Is there anything that I need to put away? No. Okay. Then we smash. We're keeping the M79, right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want. I just thought it was weird because it had a thing on it and it's a grenade launcher apparently. I don't know what's going on with that guy. Oh, it's trying to reload.
Oh, thank you. I know what's happening. I have no idea what's going on ever at any point.
I just saw the bright green text at the top.
Okay, we want to do
So
M84F would be fine to get rid of.
yeah.
Let's put that on that one. Gonna be removed from the M84F. That's fine. And then it's gonna be sad to see this go. But, you know, it's got big number.
It's gonna have so much number. It's gonna have 28 bullets in it.
My god.
That's a lot of damage.
My god. Holy shit. Wowee. Okay. I don't want the club.
We could
actually
probably just yeet
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, the club is going away now.
We have 500 bullets now. Almost 600.
I wanted to keep it just in case. Why? No. Move.
Will you not take it? So, I guess we keep Club 1 forever then.
I mean,
We'll
that's a
treasure it always.
choice. Take the club. I don't want it. It's probably the game trying to be like, even if you think you have enough, actually you don't. You fool.
Yeah, what if you're gonna run out of bullets? Okay, I have 600 bullets. Yeah, but what
Yeah,
if?
but what if? Consider, what if you run out? Game consider, what if I never run out, actually? What if you don't let me run out, is the thing, I think. Don't discard. Okay. That's a big gun. I just wanna appreciate it for a second. Wowie. What a gun.
Just appreciate those numbers.
I made number go big.
Big.
It's one of our favorite things here. Known fact.
I do like seeing number go up.
It's a good rifle. Okay. Back to the hospital. It's hospital time. What am I running into there? What am I getting? Yeah, I'd believe that. Okay, back to the hospital. Gotta go blow up some sperm. I guess.
Horrible.
Wasn't my plan. I didn't choose this. Alright, back to the 13th floor. And,
Back past the bent up fella.
yeah.
Blocking the door.
Horribly rude, man. We have to go in the room where that opened up when we hit the secret button. Secret, quote unquote.
So secret.
Alrighty. And now we have Big Gun. Nothing will ever stop us ever again. Probably. Maybe.
But can you shoot tiny wizards with a gun this big?
Yes. The answer is yes, absolutely. I need this goblin to go away. You
What the fuck was
bastard.
that?
Get out of here.
He's spraying at you. This is horrible.
Yep. It's fine. We have Big Gun now.
Yeah, time. Your action pad does go up while she's got a headache.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
Oops. Well, look. Alright. That was a lot less painful.
Hey,
And we leveled up!
nice.
We also have some bonus points that we can spend. So we might do that.
Great club one.
That'd be my favorite thing to. I am just pretty much going to dump all of my points in active time at this point.
Makes sense. Except, I mean, obviously Club 1 would be a better choice. We could make it Club 1.5.
You know what? You have a point. Oh, that's a safe spot. Oh,
Ooh,
that's
lovely.
a fight.
Less lovely.
Fuck off, game.
Same exact fight with the stupid...
Well, now I live in this
Doesn't matter,
corner.
This bouncing nonsense. do have haste now, which I don't remember being very good, but I do remember making it run very fast and being very funny. So I hope this helps.
Hey! Please.
This still don't. I one hit. Horrible. But it was 40 damage. Brain. Little bounce brain.
I probably should have healed, but that's fine.
It's fine.
I don't know what I grabbed. I saw a health item in there, and I think I saw a cure.
Yeah, a medicine too, and a rubbish one.
Discard. There we go.
Oh, box.
There's
Tiniest
so many.
Box. Smallest box.
There's so many small boxes here. And I also see those shinies over there.
Yeah.
I didn't want that Kayshurrr. What is this? Junk. The HLA list. Ben's and Lorraine's names are on here too. The same list that was on the... It's the same list that was on Dr. Clamp's computer. What's he trying to do? These are the patient records. Marico Brea, it's my mother's record. December 23rd, 1977. Taken in with Maya Brea after an accident, pronounced dead after cardiac arrest. Maya Brea, the daughter. Next page is missing. It's something else. Okay. Well, I didn't mean to activate a cutscene. Was the big thing. I wanted to do a save. Melissa Pierce. It's gotta be that Melissa! December 23rd, 1977. Emergency hospitalization. Operation successful. After 6 months of hospitalization, released. Needs medication from hospital. She has to do medication about it.
Not the medication.
Melissa and Maya were brought in the into the hospital on the same day and operated on. No, it can't be. What is this? That's an elevator key. Let's do a save. Yes, I would like to save my progress.
I do kind of love the music.
Same! Very good.
Like this period, Square were just putting out the bangers. The soundtracks are just
top tier.
Yeah, I really like From Mission 3's soundtrack. It's like one of my favorite like PlayStation ones.
Nice. This has to be a flashback. Unless there's
jets.
Are we launching jets in the hospital? Fighter jets, prepare to launch. Head towards Central Park. Oh no, it's okay. It is happening elsewhere. But this is okay. This is the general response to what's happening in New York. I understand. Remember, no unnecessary attacks. Target the enemy in the air and be alert. Manhattan's practically deserted. Why don't they just? It would take a lot to. Where would you put those people? No, Lynch. We haven't received orders from the president to attack yet. At this point, we need to look for the missing people from the park and warn the city. They're gooped. They have been turned into soup.
God.
You are not going to find them. Right?
You are standing in them, sir. Come on. Tracking them all over the carpet.
Horrible.
The moon. Oh, wow.
Well, that's a thing. A
Camera angle
wheelchair?
Here?
Fucking love Silent Hill.
Love Harry.
Harry's so good.
Very confused by wheelchairs.
Oh, what are we doing? Oh! Well!
Brain crab.
Yeah, we're fighting a brain. Oh, fuck off. I can't move.
It's a rude crab.
I can't move. Well! That's the only place to target on there.
Shoot him in the brain.
How do I don't. I just lit.
I am? Okay.
Oh. No, jeez.
Oh, he makes horrible sounds too.
Yeah, he does. Go,
Try using haste to just run rings around this guy. I don't know if it at all.
No, but it could be fun to see. Oh,
I don't know how much MP it costs either. Sorry.
it's fine.
I'm not part of the turbo team.
Now? Meow!
Whoa! The teabag goes up so fast.
It's
already full.
might be worth using that.
I just slapped you. No, I had that move.
Do you want to stay on top of my heels?
Did haste wear off already? Okay,
Yeah.
Maybe it's not great. That's 3 seconds. The 3 good seconds, but then it's gone.
What are we doing? Oh, okay. He's that was a thing that was supposed to happen. It always scares me when she stops responding. I'm a little out of range.
That counted.
Still hits pretty dang hard.
I'm pretty sure it counted as being in range.
Oh, okay.
Because it'd have done like 10.
Yeah.
I think if you'd have been 1 step out. Oh. This boss gives you a bit of space to move around in.
Yeah. Uh-oh. That's fine.
Ah, well.
Oh.
These things happen. You doing something, boss? Oh.
It had
He's
to get
doing
in just the right spot so he could fall through the roof. Leveled up.
Just one
Heal
level
3!
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I don't go.
Not gonna use it. I got a big rifle. Consider. Big rifle.
Yeah, but get to 3.
Yeah, but big rifle.
Yeah, but
So you found this place. Gonna use the sperm to give birth to the ultimate being. You're a bright one. First rebellion took place some years ago on a far-off eastern island. You can just say Japan. There, my sister committed a fatal error. I'm higher in the evolution chain than my sister. I will never commit the same mistake. You're not bi. Finally caught on, huh? No. You feeble organisms depend on machines to do all the work. Stop! Bee lady! Wowie, that face. Oh no! He gunkin!
all over his jet.
Oh no! You You've just witnessed the limitations of humans. Please, no more! What if I don't want to? It's a shame we couldn't understand each other. Oh.
Limitations of humans. Always melting and turning into gunch.
Classic human move, that. The jet, it's gonna crash into the roof. I've gotta get out of here. Oh. Aya? I would love to get out of here.
Big hole? Where are you going?
I don't know where she went, is the thing.
I thought she went through the gate at the top.
I
Never
couldn't
mind.
get there. There was a crack in the floor, and I was like,
Horrible.
no, can't do it. Can't walk over that.
It's bad luck if you step on a crack.
Oh, and also Eve went into the sky, so can't really
Yes,
follow her there.
Just follow Eve. Just walk straight up.
Oh no, the break! Wow. Wow, fuck that
That's
spider.
all that big brains for.
Oh, get out of here.
I was really hoping that kill him.
Same. I don't want that.
Even into the menu, it's still going down.
Yeah. Just falling for forever. You, am I right? Wow, she just stopped that, huh?
Not even close, baby.
Over here, Maeda!
That's kind of cool. I love how understated it was.
Right? Just like, yeah, it's not a problem. Don't worry about it.
The way you learn you are seconds from just exploding is that she just realizes she can just jump down from there.
We don't have any time. You've got away with a sperm sample. Oh no. Oh no. Thank you for saving me, Daniel. You can study all you want, but you gotta brush up on other things too, man. No girl's gonna want to be with you if you're gonna be like that, Daniel, please. What? Please,
Daniel, he's such a boomer.
Right? Daniel's everything okay back at the station? That's the thing. I found out several things about Clamp, but in the past, a doctor from that hospital was fired for giving out a patient list. A list? You mean like the one with the HLA listing? These guys have access to just about everything. I've got other info too. This is what I heard from Warner, who was on to Melissa. She was seen going into the museum late at night on several occasions. Eve? She was going into the museum? We need to go there. We must get there before the being is born. Calm down. We're there, buddy.
Oh dang, is this a two dungeon day?
Seems like. Maya. Probably call it here though. Because it's been 3 hours.
It's also been a 2 dungeon stream already.
Yeah. Can't go 3 dungeons. That's too wild. Let's go drop some stuff off though. And set it up for next weekend. We have Big Gun now, and that's exciting.
Yeah. I was like hoping it just hit the damage threshold or
right?
taking like one last shot to kill everything.
If only.
It's not quite that much
Not
better.
quite. Soon though.
Soon.
One day. No. Discard junk. Take the 1 junk. And...
What does the junk do, man?
want to put that away after I put the bullets in here.
We're just collecting them at this point, see how high the number will go.
Yeah. Yes, that is correct. Just want to know how big number go. Store item. Do I need to store anything? No? Alright. Great. Let's go upstairs and do a save.
Yeah.
I might play a little bit during the week, but just like revisit the old locations and pick up some of the stuff that we left behind.
Oh, okay.
Mostly I'm thinking about junk. We left a lot of junk behind.
Did leave a lot of junk.
Detective Warner's new information. Great. He can wait. If I do that, I might do it in Discord or something.
Ooh.
I also might not. We'll see. Depends on my motivation levels, but I am thinking about it. So, you know.
Just want to see what the junk does.
Yeah, I'm real curious.
So much junk and it's not done anything.
Right? I just want to know what the junk does. What the junk do? Hey.
What junk do?
What junk do? Actually, I'm gonna save again, but only after. Jesus, 280. I mean,
Well, that's
do
not bad, is it?
Kind of an alright number. I mean, considering how much health we've been getting, like how much our health has increased, even just this stream alone, not mad about that. That's the one that we just saved over, so let's save over that again.
He wants you to give Wayne 300 junk.
Are you... There can't be that much junk!
That's fine, let's forget about the junk, it doesn't do anything. There might still be some weird stuff in the chests, like hiding around, but
yeah.
I think maybe we don't need to worry about the junk.
I think it's fine actually if we don't junk up. Jesus, that's too much junk. Why does he want
like
so much junk?
10 in total, and we're like, it's gotta do something soon. No.
No, no, it doesn't. Holy fuck. Alright, well... Find somebody to do a raid into. Y'all wanna go say hi to Flowers? Flowers is doing more in that weird game.
Where's game? The Voxels game with...
Yeah.
It looks like more like a dungeony explory game than like a crafty miney game.
I think it's just got like the Minecraft aesthetic, and then
it's got the cubes.
It's got the cubes.
A bad case of the cubes.
But I think it is more like Terraria, in that it's like there is some crafting involved, but it is mostly exploring and combat. So, yeah. So let's go say hi to Flowers. My plan is to stream this week. Wednesday might be wiggly. I have a doctor's appointment. I don't know what time or how long it's gonna take, or what time I'm gonna be done with that, or if I'm gonna be exhausted afterwards. So we'll see. But I think I want to do Plague Tale this next week and try and finish that out. So
because,
yeah.
It hasn't offended you yet.
Yeah. Basically. But yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go say hi to Flowers. Everyone take care. Thanks for being here. Bye friends.
Bye gang.